Welcome to the Greatest Story Podcast with your hosts, Zach
and Josh.
We are here to discuss and react to some of the greatest stories ever told. We will look at books, movies, video games, and all forms of storytelling to figure out what makes a good story and what are some of the greatest stories. Well, that was pretty good. We also had a poll that went out last week regarding merchandise and swag, and it seems like most people are content with what we've got.
Yeah, it's an exciting prospect, right? And whenever you inevitably do something new, people get excited about gear and loot and swag. So the reality, guys, is those things cost tangible money. Our income as a podcast has gone up pretty well, and we'll share that excitedly in a second. But we can't just have gear on hand if nobody's willing to buy. So right now, based on the poll, we're gonna maybe buy some more stickers, maybe do some other stuff, because, by the way, Pathfinders that join at, I believe, Commodore level begin to get free swag.
And that will still be happening.
That will still be happening. So we'll do another poll in the summertime. But if you do want stuff, you gotta let us know, man.
Yep, for sure. So, Josh, as we get into the episode, are there any good stories that you've kind of interacted with lately?
You know, I've been thinking about this podcast, and one of the things it lets me do is I have been chomping through stuff, like reading and listening and watching and playing. And so I finished actually 2 books last week, so I got to start some new stuff. And I also finished a TV show. So this week, my wife and I have resumed watching Blacklist, which is like a family mystery
spy,
yeah. Like anti-terror, CSI, NCIS kind of vibe TV show on Netflix. And you got like your adventure of the week, and then they drop little Easter eggs that build up to like the
big
season.
climax.
Yeah. So that's been good to start watching again. My wife and I watched it and took a pause. I finished Heir to the Empire, so naturally I'm reading the sequel, Dark Forces, and we'll see how it goes. It's interesting. Things I remember as a kid must be in other books, so I'm waiting to get to that. But yeah, so that's what stories I've either started or resumed, and they're good. Are there any cool story news out there, Zach?
Yeah, so this week, the kind of week of the dropping of this episode, there is a new movie that's been announced for 2026 in the Lord of the Rings franchise kind of world of Middle-earth, and that is The Hunt for Gollum. So it's being directed by Andy Serkis and being produced by Peter Jackson. So the voice for Gollum in The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings.
And the actor.
Right, voice and actor because of, what's that called? Mocap, yep. Yeah. Which those videos are absolutely hysterical to watch when actors, he's got like little bubbles all over him, and he's got, that absolutely fantastic. If you want an enjoyable video of actors just cutting loose and totally getting into character. Great video. He did, crawling on the ground, and he had a special like tea drink that he would drink because it would hurt his vocal cords to do all the Gollum noises. And so he would drink this like honey tea, like cayenne pepper, like it was this mixture that everyone said tasted awful, but it would like soothe all of his vocal cords.
Thought about making a Gollum noise.
Yep.
I haven't done that in years, so
really?
I'm not going to try live. I'm not.
Gollum.
No, see, I can't do it. When I was younger and my vocal cords were changing, it was easier for me to do. But now it hurts. But it is interesting, so maybe you'll be able to go watch that, get some fish and chips.
That's right.
Unlike Gollum, you probably should not eat your fish raw
and wriggling.
Yeah.
So that's 2026 is when that news is scheduled for that movie. But Josh, you mentioned earlier that we've had some new people join our Patreon, which is really, really exciting. We've had some new free members and some paid members. So who do we have, Josh?
Yeah, we got some free Pathfinders joining us with Gabe. I'm not saying your last name, I'm unless you want me to.
You can. I mean, that's what he put on the Patreon. So.
All right, cool. We're doing it. We're going full send just for Gabe. I did not get Josh's autographed Vanderbilt. We also got Zoe, who signed up. Zoe E, thanks for that. And the mysterious emailer, Ruby Joe, has now transitioned into the Patreon world and is a Pathfinder for real.
That's true. Upgraded from email correspondent to Patreon member. Yeah. So thank you. Yep.
But exciting news, going on to our paid Pathfinder category, where you get weekly callouts. We're happy to introduce Peggy Pegalicious Brooks, which, Peggy, thanks for joining. You're a champ. And lastly, we want to call out our loyal, stalwart Pathfinder champion, Paige S., also a champ. Thanks, guys. We appreciate you.
Yeah, and remember that you can also find us on Patreon. Go to patreon.com, find The Greatest Story Podcast, and you can join us as a free member, or like Commodore Peggy and Champion Paige, you can join us at the paid tier for more content with bonus episodes and articles coming up, as well as some exclusive voting rights. So you will have an input into the next content that we will do starting as early as the end of season 1. Yeah.
So that means, to recap here. Commodore Peggy, Champion Paige, they get free loot.
Yep.
Which we got to work on.
Yep.
They'll get a monthly, maybe bi-monthly newsletter.
Yep. With a couple articles.
Which we got to work on.
Yep.
And they'll get to vote here for our last episode of the season.
Yep.
Man, what a great deal.
That is a great deal. And you too can have that deal for as low as $2 a month. Yep.
You won't get free stuff. Obviously, you got to, the rewards.
Check out the benefits. Just look at the benefits page. Yep.
Yeah,
all right. So today we are going to dive into a childhood classic of many people. This is a full-on, I was going to say trilogy, but it's not a trilogy, a quadrilogy.
I think they're doing another one.
A syncology. Cinco de Toy Story. So yeah, we're doing Toy Story.
And we're not sad, pitiable little men.
There you go. I
was trying to figure out how to make it plural.
Yeah, to strange, sad little men. Yep. Yeah. Anyway, so we're going to go through and we're just going to start at the beginning because it's a very good place to start. And we're going to work through our rubric and talk about Toy Story. And I do want to give a heads up that this movie is super enjoyable, but my algorithm did not rate it as high as some people might think. So just gonna toss that out there, put that out there when it came to Star Wars.
But it's it's out there.
It's out there.
It's a good thing we're not aiming for the truck.
That was good. Yeah. Okay. So Josh, when you think about clear plot. Yeah. Wow. That was okay. Explain that for us.
Yeah. So just like Buzz kind of gets confused in the middle, the movie has some drag, a little bit of fat on it that could be trimmed up. So the plot, starts where you have a familiar cast of toys. They've been together. You get the really awesome introduction where it takes actually a second, but the awesome introduction of all the characters, where Woody's obviously in charge. He's a little sheriff doll with a snake in his boot.
Yep.
And he's got a friendly cast of characters literally Mr. Potato Head, Tyrannosaurus Rex. What is the Ham?
Yeah, Ham.
Ham is the
piggy bank. Yep.
Sarge and the army man.
Yep.
Bo Peep and the sheep.
Yep.
Just toys.
Yep.
Right? And these toys are alive. They're somehow living creatures, but they have to maintain a secret existence. And so plot begins where it's
which has anyone ever do they ever explain
how they're alive?
No. Why they're only alive when no one is looking?
Well, but okay. Well,
because they're still alive when people are looking.
Well, and that's what you see in the end.
Yeah.
Right, because Woody comes he even is saying lines, moving his face, whatever, with his voice box, and then he scares the crap out of poor tortured child.
Yeah.
Because hurt people.
Yeah, they do.
But he scares Sid. He's like, I'm alive.
Yeah.
Imagine the psychological damage.
I hope that kid got counseling.
Well, isn't he the trash man?
He is.
Third.
Which I don't know if that tells us if he got counseling or not. He at least got a normal job.
Sanitation engineers make the world go round.
That's true. Thank you, sanitation engineers.
We appreciate you. Bing. Anyways, it's Andy's birthday.
Yep.
Which this family's got a lot going on.
Yeah, they're moving. There's like they're sharing a room, which it's a big house. It is a big house, and yet the 8-year-old boy and the 1-year-old girl. Yeah.
Anyways, boy is Andy.
Yep.
He's not really a character. He's more of like a
God.
The Claw.
The Claw. This movie is actually just about cults.
Anyways, but the plot is Andy gets a new toy for his birthday. That toy is way cooler, shinier.
Yep.
Literally has
Buzz Lightyear.
Buzz Lightyear.
Come in, Star Command. And then there's like the action music.
Toy cannot fly. Anyways, and these toys are basically like it's a mixture of envy and fear, and it puts it on a journey because if you've
ever read Animal Farm.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Do you think this is loosely based off of Animal Farm?
I think it is. But the horses don't get turned into glue.
But the toys
kind of do.
Oh.
Sorry, I didn't want to make that super dark for anyone listening, but, if it's there, it's there. If the shoe fits, which is actually a line from the second one, but...
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Well, we poisoned the water.
We poisoned the water hole.
But we're taking a while on plot. So the toy Buzz Lightyear and the toy Woody get in a, tiff. There's clear conflict there because who's really the alpha dog? They get lost because Woody, in his fear and desperation, violates his ethics, or maybe those ethics were never there. But he basically tries to assassinate Buzz.
Well, it was an accident.
Well, he was trying to push him out the window.
I feel like...
Did the window thing...
It was technically an accident, but the intent was there.
I think... The accident is like the little darts raining over.
Correct. Like Woody. The
accident is Woody.
Woody Woody thinks about pushing him out the window, and then he's like, "No, I'm not going to do that." But then when he kicks the ball, then it triggers a series. Yeah, it triggers a series of events, which does knock Buzz out the window. So
you're right.
I don't know. I might be splitting hairs because there is definitely the intention where he's debating.
Which I guess, that does make a difference then because, what is inside of you is going to... We're not at that.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah.
Anyways, they get lost. They have to make their way back to Andy.
Yep.
They wind up at the coolest pizza shop on Earth.
Pizza Planet.
Yeah. Green slime. Or is it sludge? What? Anyways, so that happened. So the antagonist, right, is Sid, who's this poor child that we talked about at the beginning. And he has this fear-mongering reputation because he's literally disassembling toys, reassembling them, putting them on rockets, making loud noises, only listens to Headbanger, Screamo. Anyway, so he ends up bringing Buzz and Woody home. Obviously, they have to make it out of there. Buzz has a crisis of self. While in this situation, Woody has a crisis of character, leads into them working together, leads into the escape, ends with return back to normal.
Yeah, and so they end up back with Andy, and that's kind of the plot. But even as we jumped around as we're moving through this, and we get distracted, it almost seems like the plot gets distracted, and so the plot is followable. But
yeah, I mean it is linear.
Yeah.
And there is a rising action and a falling action.
Yeah, it's just not necessarily the most clear as far as plots that we've come across.
Yeah.
What about character arcs? So we talked a little bit. I mean, main characters, right? You've got Woody and you've got Buzz Lightyear, and that's really the two characters that we're following throughout the entire movie. And so
secretly, it's all about RC.
That's very interesting. I like that, actually.
No, yeah. The silent character.
The silent character. He shows up in a lot of important scenes, actually. Silent but watching always.
Yeah.
Always. Okay.
Watching.
Wrong Pixar movie.
Is that the next one?
Monsters, Inc.
What's the one after? Is Bug's Life after Toy Story?
Bug's Life, I think, is early. Bug's Life is really early in Pixar's history.
So I saw a YouTube short that was talking about
Bug's Life is a lit movie.
Yeah, that's great.
It's creepy, but it's good.
Actually scared me as a kid.
Oh, me
and
too.
The Bugs Life ride.
Me too.
Also, the 4D.
Yep.
Just the puffs of air, man.
Definitely.
You don't know who sat in that chair last.
Absolutely.
I don't know what's coming out with that.
Yep.
Anyways.
Definitely. But, so we're following Buzz and Woody. Josh, do you think that that Buzz or Woody go through any type of character arc? We've talked about Woody seems to be a conflicted character.
Buzz definitely more than Woody.
Goes through an arc?
Yeah.
How so?
Well, Buzz is like trapped in this fantasy reality of
he's enlightened.
Yeah, and he thinks he's higher. He literally starts by like, I'm a higher life form. Thinks he's on a space planet.
Yeah,
right, because he's a spaceman superhero, which they call him a superhero.
Yeah,
which I don't know. I guess it fits, but I wouldn't call like Luke Skywalker a superhero.
I don't know.
Anyways,
it'd be more like Mandalorian as a superhero.
Still wouldn't call him a superhero.
Yeah. You got some cool gadgets, and you think you're the coolest. Well, Iron Man's a superhero. I mean, he doesn't have anything except he's intelligent and cool gadgets.
Well, he doesn't have anything. He also has that big line. He's like, "What are you without that armor?" Billionaire, philanthropist, genius,
yeah.
We're so. We're back on, and Buzz thinks he's a literal higher life form, and he acts like it. He's not very like kind or gentle. He's very condescending with the other toys. He's happy enough to show off his gizmos and gadgets. He's not sympathetic to that. He is actively replacing Woody, and Woody even makes that known. Like, he's literally knocking Woody off the bed, taking his physical location for his Andy's primary toy. And he comes to this conflict where when they're taken back to Sid's house, and it's literally like just nightmare fuel for toys, and it's kind of nightmare fuel for kids, if I'm honest. But the nightmare fuel house, he ends up seeing a commercial that makes him literally look in the mirror. It's like a mirror he has to look at and says, "Oh, I am just a toy," just like Woody's been yelling all these ugly things at me. And so those ugly things that Woody had previously yelled at him now are internalized. He tries to disprove and reaffirm the fantasy that he was in, and he ends up breaking himself by jumping off the banister, seeing if he can fly. I can fly. Anyways, it's a nice song. And then he becomes Mrs. Nesbit for weird...
Mrs. Nesbit. Yep. Yeah, kind of a identity crisis a little bit.
Yeah, and then he...
But then he overcomes it, yeah.
He does, and he acknowledges he's a toy.
Yep.
And that he can use what he's given
to still accomplish the job.
And cool.
Yep.
He's good,
and he becomes instrumental in getting them back to Andy. Yep, absolutely. What about Woody?
What do you think?
So I don't think Woody really has a character arc. I mean, you could say that he develops a friendship with Buzz, which is good because he was originally jealous. But at the beginning of the movie, Woody is this pretty decent leader of the toys, and at the end of the movie, he seems to be a pretty decent leader, maybe a co-leader at this point with Buzz.
So I was gonna say, is it like about control? Like
maybe
Buzz is about identity, Woody's about
control. Yeah, that's possible. My concern is, does Woody actually change, and he's no longer jealous of Buzz, and he's willing to give up that control? Or does he only give up that control as means of self-preservation?
So that's the rub, right? Because we never see Woody change.
Until they get to Sid's house.
Yeah.
And Woody can't escape on his own.
And so there's no moment in the movie where so I'm about to say, you never see him in the movie in times of, like, non-crisis, like, making these choices to acknowledge Buzz. I guess because they... redo the wheel. The movie ends and it's Christmas and they're freaking out and doing the whole, like, deploy Sarge, Army men, the radio and the tree and blah, 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 blah. Doesn't really seem like much growth happens. Like, that's a return back to normal.
It's back to normal, yeah.
Just with another friend.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess... Does Woody grow is questionable at best.
It's questionable at best, yeah. So not super great on character arcs, but they are interesting characters, and we'll get to that in a minute. But thinking about ethical lessons, I think that when you're watching it, there's a lot of things you can pull out of the movie. And if you go online, there's entire websites dedicated to the morals of Toy Story.
No, there's not.
There are entire...
Did you deep plunge this?
I did. I was looking at a lot of them because I was like, I feel like maybe there's some morals here. Is there a lot of ethical lessons? And so just on a whim, I Googled it, and I was like...
What do the
Oh, there's tons. There's tons about like identity.
Okay.
There's tons about jealousy. There's tons about friendship.
Kind of.
Yeah. So there's.
I agree with those three.
There's all kinds. Yeah. Is that? So my question is, when we're thinking about ethical lesson, we like to distinguish between explicit and implicit ethical lessons. And that was one of the things where Eragon got worse, because there were a lot of things that you could pull out of there implicitly, but was there a real ethical push to explicitly change in some way? And I don't know if Toy Story has that kind of a push.
I think what I was saying with Buzz and the Mrs. Nesbitt thing, snapping out of it, having to use his skills, being like, I might not be a superhero, but I can still be a hero.
Yeah.
I think that one, the clarity of character and who you are and purpose, and I think that one's pretty good.
Okay, so kind of a don't be disillusioned, but also once you recognize who you are, play to your strengths, kind of an idea.
Yeah, and there's something to be said about not letting what others say about you be informing who you are, but also being able to use that as a mirror.
That's right. Sticks and stones will never hurt you, but stairs will.
Stairs will literally break your arm off. There's also the whole thing about the assumption that the broken toys are monsters.
Yeah, at Sid's house.
Yeah, and come to find out, like,
they're just prisoners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they, were misjudged, and they were actually trying to heal.
Except for the baby head spider, who is literally a monster. That is the one that would give me nightmares.
But
man.
I mean,
I know. In the end, it's just a baby toy.
All these broken toys, really. So, like, I think there's... Okay, this is on the fly. I haven't thought about this except for now. Are they the inverse of Sid? Like, Sid is whole, he's put together.
On the outside.
But on the inside, he's shattered, breaking stuff, because there's, like, these weird little scenes where the mom's yelling, or the dad's passed out with some beer cans in front of the TV, which is where Buzz sees the commercial. Those are very intentional details. So the implication is Sid's broken on the inside, and he is manifesting that on the outside by breaking everything around him. But these broken toys are looking to heal things in turn, like outside, because they have, they understand who they are and what they are. And so even though he might rip the baby doll head off, that baby doll is still a baby doll.
Right.
Even if it's got a weird crab, like, connects, like, body thing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I could see that. I think that's an interesting kind of parallel there.
So, ethical lesson, though.
It's decent. I think it's decent. I think it's okay. Yeah. I think it's really interesting for a movie that deals a lot with possessiveness of people. Everyone has Andy's name written on their foot, and that's like a big part of the whole movie. So that's one that's a little unclear to me, is Woody is not supposed to be possessive of Andy, because that's part of the whole jealousy thing.
Woody.
But Andy, I don't know, but Andy is possessive of his... But then again, they're toys, not people.
You are a toy.
Yeah.
So I think you mentioned earlier, like, Andy's a god.
Yeah.
I think there's some wiggle room with that, actually.
Yeah.
Like,
that seems to be how how he's portrayed.
Like, we do not own God.
Right.
Right, but God does, like, he made us. Now, I'm not going off the deep end, because you superimpose this on Toy Story. There's so much.
That's weird. That drops quick.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, anyways, this is not. Don't necessarily one for one it, but it is interesting to just contemplate, like, that.
Yeah.
Messy thing we just opened.
Sure. So we're just gonna move on.
We're gonna move on then.
So what about clear conflict and resolution? Plot is okay. What about conflict? The conflict is they're lost, right?
They get found.
Yeah.
Well, they find themselves.
They appear back. Yeah. So they are found, but although the mom's like totally gaslighting.
Told you they were there the whole time. Zurg is still aloof.
Evil Emperor Zurg.
Totally not Darth Vader.
Yep. Well, no, he's not Darth Vader. He's got a hand cannon.
And it's purple. With yellow eyes.
With yellow eyes.
I
love Zurg. He's a great character.
Everything goes back to normal. Sid gets taught a lesson.
Yep, true.
Woody and Buzz are forced to reconcile. I think Buzz chooses it more than Woody.
I agree with that.
Woody does help build Buzz back up to some degree, but again, is that because his tush is on the line?
Right.
Right, and he has snakes in his boots and will get bit if he doesn't help him out. That didn't land very well, but we're rolling. The toys, like, they turn on each other so
quick.
Like Andy's toys,
Andy's toys. Because, like, there's even the scene, I just remember this about remember because Sid is neighbors with Andy, and there's the light scene whenever
they throw the Christmas lights.
Yeah, they throw the Christmas lights as like a rope, and so Woody's gonna crawl across, and then he like accidentally shows Buzz's arm.
Yeah,
and they're like, "Oh my goodness!" And they like, and they like throw the rope down, and so they're like, "No, we don't want anything to do with you."
Yeah,
and then they do it again when they get to the truck.
Yeah,
they're just willing to like throw Woody out onto the street, literally.
They also think Woody like assassinated
killed Buzz, yeah,
and then he does
and then like
his arm.
Yeah, that's true. You assassinated Buzz and chopped him up for parts.
Yeah. Potato Head's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But Potato Head's also like a jerk.
No, Potato Head is not an emulatable character.
Ham is a jerk.
Yep.
Rex is
ignorant.
Coward.
Yeah, coward for sure.
RC is
RC is the hero. RC is the best character. Slinky is trusting.
And I think he's optimistic. I think he's just depressed.
Yeah. Optimistically depressed. Yeah.
That's a thing.
Yeah, it is.
Anyways, so Andy's toys are all actually okay. Andy's toys are whole. Sid's toys are broken. Say that 5 times fast. But Sid's toys act more whole and work together.
Right, more than Andy's toys.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I don't know if that's...
There might be some things there. Maybe we're just diving too deep into it.
Conflict resolution, sure. I mean, the big points end. So it's okay.
So, engaging in relatable characters. I think this is where it probably does well with the quotable lines. I mean, Woody is a conflicted but definitely robust character. Buzz, too, goes through this kind of enlightening of who he is, journey of self-discovery, that kind of idea. Yeah. There are some not as clear, like not as engaging characters, like Bo Peep is just there. I would argue that probably like Ham and Potato Head are just there. They're funny, but...
They're just comedic
relief.
Andy's kind of just there.
Andy's just there, yep. All the humans, really, with the exception of Sid. Sid is a dynamic character.
And probably relatable to a good group of people. Good size group.
Yeah.
Not that you're not good either, but I meant like, a sizable majority.
Yes.
Not majority.
No.
Pizza Planet. I think, like, in reading and thinking about this, I think there's especially a few categories of people that will probably find Toy Story super engaging and relatable. The first one that jumps off the screen in my mind when I watch it and think is if you're ever a new kid, right? You go somewhere for the first time, you're not accepted.
Yep.
You have to
you got to be careful of defenestration.
Being thrown out of a window.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good. And defranchisement. But Buzz is the new kid. Because,
yep.
Anyways. And he has to contend. There's, a power struggle. He's loved by some, disliked by some. So I think if you move and you're, going to a new high school, or if you're, primary school, that's probably going to be pretty relatable. I'm not trying to be dark, but the Sid thing, that's probably relatable to some people.
Yeah.
Do they make that a trope? Totally. Totally troped out. I listen to rock and wear punk bands and got a close cut.
I got a skull on my shirt.
And I got braces.
Yeah.
The big one. That's the rocket. Cool. Totally not for kids. Anyways. Other than that, though, Woody and Buzz, we've all been replaced. So I don't have much more. I'm Ram.
Yep. No, that's good. I think there is one of my favorite lines is the fact that Buzz does his whole flying demonstration at the beginning, and Woody's like, "That's not flying, it's falling with style." And then at the very end, Woody's like, "Buzz, you're flying," and he's like, "I'm falling with style." And so
I think
I think that's kind of
that shows growth,
but it shows growth from
Buzz,
I think.
Yeah,
shows a humility there.
And I think the inverse is true of Woody.
Of Woody, like an appreciation of Buzz, maybe.
Buzz, you're literally flying.
Yeah, okay.
So I think it goes both ways.
Okay, so maybe Woody does grow some.
Yeah, which we're past that point.
Yeah,
but those things make them relatable.
Those things make them relatable. What about Captivating World?
Oh, I didn't see that. Is that your rating? Are you saying that?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you guys what Zach has. I'm surprised.
You think it's higher?
I do.
Really?
I mean, it's delightful. Like it triggers.
What about it?
The toys, like, it just makes you feel like you're a kid again, and they got like little tykes and Etch-a-Sketch, and it's like,
is that the world though, or is that just characters?
I mean, characters are part of the world, like we talked about in Aragon. Like
there's overlaps, but
so I mean, okay, if I do sets, like location outside of Pizza Planet, no,
yeah.
I mean, Dynaco gas station's kind of interesting.
Well, that's a reference to Cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't think they knew they were doing that at the time. I think Cars...
Was Cars after that?
For sure.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's cool.
They had, like...
So they made a
Rascal
racing
Flatts
team. Yeah, they had a whole team. That's cool.
Toy Story was, like, when I was little. I
guess that's true. Yeah, Toy Story was, like, what...
It's like 1998, 1999.
Is it that early?
Yeah, I don't even think it's 2000 yet.
No, I knew it was 90s, but okay.
But yeah, no, I think I'll stand on, yes, the toys are characters, but the toys also create the world.
Okay.
And you also have things like the building blocks or the Hot Wheels tracks or whatever, and you know, as a kid, you put all your toys together and you're like, wow, like this is an awesome dynamic world. And I think Pixar and the animators capture that pretty well, and you watch that and you're like, yeah, you know what? When you're a kid, you can play with your Etch-a-Sketch, and you can play with your Cowboy Doll and your Spaceman. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And I was going to bring Toy Story 2 into it, but I won't. I think Toy Story 2 does an even better job.
Mm-hmm.
Will I give it an A? I don't think so. I'd probably give it like a B+, B.
Okay. All right. Yeah. No, I think that's fine. I think that's a decent argument. I don't feel like it does a whole lot. It's just our world on a smaller scale.
It's fair.
So that's kind of where my thought process was. I think it scores higher in consistency with the way the toys interact and some of those building blocks and Hot Wheels and Etch-a-Sketch and some of those things that you were mentioning. Yeah. So I think that fits more. Like, I rated characters and consistency higher than I would rate Captivating World.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's kind of my thought on that.
I think that's totally fair. Right? Yoda says, truly wonderful the mind of a child is. And everything goes back to Star Wars.
Yep.
Battle station's fully operational. But you go back and you think like a kid. Toy Story helps you think like a kid. And I think because of that, the toys become a different world. Like it's like a suspension of belief and the suspension of reality. And I think it does that well through the eyes of a child. And that's something I think we all really want to go back to. But I also understand, like, it's also, like, we have Etch-a-Sketches, we have Hot Wheels, we have RC cars, like, all of that. It's not like, the only new thing is, like, Buzz Lightyear.
Right. So what about consistency?
I think you're right.
Yeah, I think consistency is really good. One of the things that I love that they do is they have a whole bunch of, like what Josh was saying, really relatable instances, but from the perspective of the toys. So, like, one of the things that stands out in my mind is when they're doing the scouting of the birthday party, and the one army man doesn't make it and gets stepped on, and the mom's like, man, like, leaving these army men all over the place. Yeah. And so she slides him off to the side, and from the army man's perspective, it's like he's gone down in battle, and they have to carry him back.
Well, they even have his legs, like, broken off of his little, like, standing part.
Yep. And so it's like just the difference between, like, he's gone down in battle versus just being, stepped on. But everyone steps on their army men if you leave them lying around. That's just a very common experience. It's like stepping on Legos. And so,
Worse than hell itself.
Yeah, seriously. So I think there's really cool things like that where they give us these very relatable instances, but from the perspective of the toys as well.
I think people are kind of inconsistent.
Yeah.
And also, bro, who brings bed sheets to a birthday party?
Yeah.
As a gift. Like, what children are these? Like, a lunchbox.
Okay, yeah. He's like 8 years old. A cool lunchbox I could get behind.
Bring some bed sheets?
Bed sheets. Yeah.
To an 8-year-old birthday party?
Because they love their bed.
I mean, and I always assume they're a Buzz Lightyear thing.
Sure. Because they do switch the bed sheets later on in the movie. Yeah. In 1, yeah, they switch it. Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe those were that's not explicit though. We're just assuming that those were the bed sheets.
Mostly being funny.
Yeah.
But I can't really put my thumb on it.
Yeah.
The people don't really act like people.
Like people. They act like gods.
They don't even act like gods.
Greek gods.
Maybe like Clockwinder gods, maybe?
Maybe.
Like they set stuff up and
let it go. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, also, how often is Andy even in his room?
Apparently never.
Never. Yeah, they have like full-on like business meetings when he's not there.
Yeah, the little like microphone.
Yeah. Like at the very beginning, they're like, we had the great success with our melting batteries awareness meeting last week. And I'm like, what kind, are you guys giving classes? Like,
yeah. So consistency, like in the scale of stuff, like that's kind of strange, the durability of toys, but like that's so nitpicky.
No, yeah, I don't really have a problem with that.
But definitely, like, there's something about the people.
Yeah.
It's just, one, it's offsetting.
Yep.
In the same way that Polar Express adults are offsetting.
Yeah.
I have to think about it. Maybe that's just Tom Hanks.
Maybe.
And if we get 5 million subscribers, maybe we'll get Tom Hanks on this show.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, I would do it for 3 million. Yeah.
Is the other one Tim Allen?
Is the other one Tim Allen? Oh, Buzz Lightyear? Yeah.
We get 10 million. We'll get Tim Allen.
I know. Maybe we'll do a like Christmas special where we'll do like Polar Express and Santa Claus at the same time. With Tim Allen and Tom Hanks.
Santa Claus the hobo. He's not.
Are you talking about Polar Express?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Gotcha.
Anyway.
No, that's the spirit of Christmas.
I know.
Yeah.
Christmas past.
You think it's Christmas past?
I do think it's Christmas past.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can we'll have to do another we'll have to do another either a bonus episode or another Christmas episode in the future.
Yeah, today's not the day to think about this.
No. Okay, so consistency, it scores decently. Yeah, it scores well. So Josh, as we wrap things kind of up and begin to close this episode, we want to remind you guys to comment and share, particularly on YouTube. We would love to get some more YouTube comments on there.
Yeah, the Dance Moms thing, you guys are bottoming out.
Yep.
You're plateauing.
That's true. We had great feedback on that comment and the likes on our page and the subscriptions on our page last week. But, if you want to get to, what did we say, 200? 100 likes?
We said 250 subs.
And 100 likes.
I mean, obviously we want to get there, but, maybe we'll just do 100 and 100.
Shh, no, Josh.
Okay.
We're at like 57 subs. They could easily bring us to 100. We got to give them a challenge.
No, I said 200. Down from 250 to 100 subs.
I know.
Oh, you're saying it's too easy.
It's too easy. They would only have to do like 40, 30, 40, something like that.
They would need like 50 likes.
No. Same.
All right, 250 and 100.
250 and 100.
Tried.
We gotta keep our consistency. Otherwise, I'll rate us low. The algorithm will say we're terrible.
Art imitates life.
There we go. So, but yeah, sharing on Insta, Facebook, liking and commenting, we really appreciate it, and it does get our podcast out there so that we can continue to make content for you guys. So, Josh, as you're thinking about all of the things that we've talked about so far, where would you rate Toy Story?
I mean, C, but like C's passing.
Yeah.
Let's get the grade.
C is passing. Absolutely. It is a story, and it is an enjoyable story, right? Yeah. Like, we're judging it based on our rubric on the merits of the story itself. But I have seen Toy Story
Wow.
5, 6, 7. I don't even know how many times. And I would watch it all the time as a kid.
Yeah.
So, like, it's an enjoyable and entertaining story.
Yeah, and it's been a long time since I've been to Disney World, but, like, the Toy Story section is by far one of my favorite parts of Disney World.
Yeah.
So it's not like we dislike Toy Story.
Right.
But, I mean, it is just kind of like...
It's a story.
It's entertainment.
Yeah, it's an entertaining story.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
So, speaking of entertaining stories, Zach, what are we talking about next time?
We're going to talk about annoying neighbors, painting outdoors, the beauty of nature, and what really matters in life and death, and also leaves.
Bo Peep's creepy, man.
Yeah.
Which I'm going to die. I'm going to die.